Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English with Liam and Olivia.
Yes, welcome. We are so happy you chose to spend this time with us today.
This is the podcast where English feels real, natural, and part of your everyday life.
No pressure, no heavy lessons, just honest conversations that help you grow in a real way.
And today we have an episode that is going to save some of you from some very awkward moments.
Yes, because today we are talking about a word that has gotten a lot of English learners into trouble without them even realizing it.
A word that feels completely innocent, that feels helpful and natural when you say it.
But that in certain situations lands very differently than you intended.
And understanding how this word works is going to make your English immediately more socially confident and more natural.
So, let us get into it. This one is going to be really eye-opening.
Before we start, a small and genuine request from us.
If this podcast is helping your English feel more natural and more confident, please like this episode right now.
And if you have not yet subscribed, please join our community today. A brand new episode is waiting for you every single day.
Every episode you listen to is one more real step forward. Do not miss a single one. So, today we are talking about the word actually.
Actually, such a small word, just 3 syllables, used constantly in English.
And for many learners, it feels like a very safe and neutral word, just a way of adding information or emphasis.
But actually is one of the most emotionally complex words in conversational English.
Because depending on how you use it and where you place it in a sentence, it can feel warm and friendly.
Or it can feel like a correction, a contradiction, even an attack.
And most learners have no idea that the word they thought was helping them is sometimes making conversations feel tense.
So today we are going to explore all the different faces of actually.
When it sounds warm, when it sounds aggressive, and how to use it in a way that always lands the way you intend.
Because actually is not a bad word at all. It is a beautiful and useful word when you understand it.
And by the end of this episode, you are going to understand it completely.
So let us start from the very beginning.
Let us start with what actually really does in English.
At its core, actually introduces something that contrasts with what was expected or assumed.
It says, wait, here's the real information. Here's what is true compared to what you might have thought.
And that contrast can feel gentle or it can feel sharp, depending entirely on the situation and the tone.
Think of actually as a word that lives right on the edge between helpful correction and unintended challenge.
And where it lands on that edge depends on 3 things: what comes before it, what comes after it, and how your voice sounds when you say it.
Let us start with the warm and friendly uses of actually, because there are many of them and they are beautiful.
The first warm use, actually expressing pleasant surprise.
When something turns out better than you expected, actually carries a feeling of genuine delight.
Think about trying a new food you weren't sure about. Your friend convinced you to try it. You take a bite and it's delicious.
You say, this is actually really good. I didn't expect to like it, but I actually love it.
That actually is not correcting anyone. It's not challenging anyone. It's just expressing honest surprise and pleasure.
The contrast here is between your expectation and the reality. You expected not to like it. The reality is you love it. Actually bridges that gap.
Or in a work situation, your manager asks if you enjoyed a project you just completed, and you did genuinely enjoy it.
You say, I actually really loved working on this one. It challenged me in all the right ways.
That actually makes the praise feel real, not performed, not professional politeness, but genuine, authentic feeling.
And people always feel the difference. When you say actually before an honest feeling, the listener leans in.
Because it signals that what follows is not just a polite, automatic response, it's something you truly mean.
Or with a friend, they ask if you're enjoying your new neighborhood after moving.
You say, I actually love it here. The people are so friendly and I feel really at home already.
That actually is warm and genuine. It says, this is not just something I'm saying, this is how I really feel.
So this use of actually is about sincerity, about underlining a genuine truth with a gentle emphasis.
And when used this way, it always sounds warm and natural and real.
Now say it with us. Everyone listening, repeat these sentences out loud.
This is actually really good. I actually love it here. I actually cannot thank you enough.
Say them again with warmth in your voice. This is actually really good. I actually love it here. I actually cannot thank you enough.
Feel how natural those sound? How warm and genuine they feel? That's actually working exactly as it should.
Keep those sentences. Use them. They're yours now.
Now, let us talk about when actually starts to feel sharp, when it starts to sound like a correction or a challenge.
And this is where it gets really important because this is the version that causes misunderstandings.
The most common situation where actually sounds aggressive is when it introduces a direct correction.
Think about this. Someone is telling a story about something they believe to be true, and you know a different version.
You jump in and say, actually, that's not right. It happened differently.
Now, in English, depending on your tone and your relationship with that person, this can sound very direct, even dismissive.
Because actually here is acting like a sharp pivot, a stop right there. Here's the real version.
And that stop right there energy is what makes actually feel aggressive in some situations.
Think about a simple moment at a family dinner. Someone says a film came out in a certain year. You know it was a different year.
If you say, actually, it came out 2 years earlier, the actually signals that you're about to override what they said.
And depending on your tone, that can feel like a gentle correction, or it can feel like you're showing off or putting them down.
The issue is not the information. The information is helpful. The issue is how the actually lands as a social signal.
In English, the word actually before a correction puts the spotlight on the fact that someone was wrong.
And sometimes that spotlight is uncomfortable, even if everyone knows you didn't mean it harshly.
So what do you do when you want to correct something, but you want to be gentle about it?
You soften the correction before actually arrives.
Instead of actually, it came out 2 years earlier, you say, oh, I think it might be actually a different year. I could be wrong, but I think it was earlier.
See what happened there? The I think I could be wrong softened everything before actually even appeared.
And now actually is not a sharp pivot, it's a gentle suggestion inside an already humble sentence.
2, at work, your colleague states something incorrect in a meeting. You want to correct it without embarrassing them.
Instead of actually, that figure is wrong, you say, just to make sure we have the right numbers, I actually had a slightly different figure in the report I read. Let me check.
The just to make sure we have the right numbers removes the personal spotlight from your colleague.
And the I actually had a slightly different figure makes it personal to you rather than a judgment on them.
So the correction happens, the information is put right, but nobody feels attacked or embarrassed.
That's sophisticated English communication, and now you have the tools to do it. Now, let us look at another situation where actually can feel aggressive without meaning to.
When it's used to dismiss someone else's idea or suggestion.
Imagine you're in a group planning session. Someone suggests an idea, and someone else immediately says, actually, I think we should do it differently.
That actually, right at the start of the response, signals that the first idea is being rejected, immediately, without much consideration.
And the person who offered the idea might feel dismissed, even if the alternative idea is genuinely good.
The feeling is, I didn't even finish speaking, and you're already replacing my suggestion with yours.
And that feeling, even when unintended, creates tension in the conversation.
So how do you share a different idea without making the other person feel dismissed?
You acknowledge their idea first, then you introduce yours.
That's a really interesting approach. I was also thinking we could try something slightly different, actually. What if we did it this way?
Now, the actually comes at the end of your acknowledgement, not the beginning of your replacement.
And the whole energy of the sentence changes. It feels collaborative instead of competitive.
The other person feels heard. Their idea was acknowledged, and now you're adding to the conversation rather than erasing their contribution.
This is one of the most important social skills in English, and actually is right at the center of it.
Where you place actually in a sentence changes the social meaning completely.
At the beginning of a correction or rejection, it feels sharp. At the end of an acknowledgement, it feels soft.
Same word, different position, completely different feeling.
Say it with us now. Repeat these sentences out loud.
I think it might actually be different. I was actually thinking something similar. That is actually a great point.
Say them again. I think it might actually be different. I was actually thinking something similar. That is actually a great point.
All three use actually. All three feel warm and collaborative because of where actually lives in each sentence.
That is the key. Position and tone. position and tone. Keep that with you.
Now let us talk about the third dimension of actually, when it sounds passive-aggressive.
Oh, this one is important because this is the version that native speakers use sometimes when they are frustrated.
And learners sometimes copy this pattern without realizing the emotional weight it carries.
Think about a situation where someone asks you to do something you already did.
For example, your partner asks, "Did you remember to book the restaurant?" And you already booked it an hour ago.
A warm response? Yes, I actually booked it this morning. We're all set.
But a frustrated response might be, "I actually already did that," said with a slightly flat or sharp tone.
The second version with that tone carries an unspoken message. How could you not know I already did this?
And that unspoken message is what makes actually feel passive-aggressive in those moments.
The word itself is not the problem. The tone and the implication behind it are the issue.
So when you're using actually in a moment where you feel even slightly frustrated or defensive, be extra aware of your tone.
Soften it. Warm it up. Add a smile to your voice if you can.
Yes, I actually sorted that already. Good timing, though. Said with warmth, that sentence feels relaxed and kind.
I actually already did that. Said with a flat or tense voice, that same information feels like a reproach.
The information is identical. The tone is the entire difference.
And in English, tone carries as much meaning as the words themselves, sometimes more.
So practice using actually with a light, warm, open voice, and it will almost always land the way you intend.
Now let us talk about common mistakes learners make with actually.
The first mistake, using actually too often as a filler word.
Some learners discover actually and fall in love with it, and then it starts appearing in every single sentence.
Actually, I went to the shop, and actually, I saw my friend there, and actually, we had coffee, and actually, it was really nice.
When actually appears that many times in a row, it loses all its meaning and starts to sound a little unusual.
Actually is powerful because it signals a contrast or an emphasis, but when it appears everywhere, there's no contrast left to signal.
So use actually with intention. Use it when you genuinely want to highlight something that contrasts with an expectation.
Or when you want to add real emphasis to a genuine feeling, not as a habit or a filler.
Quality over quantity. A well-placed actually is far more powerful than 10 scattered ones.
The second mistake, using actually at the very start of a response to a question.
Someone asks you a question and you say, actually, followed by your answer.
In many languages, starting with actually is neutral. It just means well or so in those languages.
But in English, starting your answer with actually signals that the question itself contained a wrong assumption.
And sometimes that's exactly what you want to say, but often learners use it without meaning to send that signal.
For example, someone asks, "Are you enjoying the course?" And you say, "Actually, yes, it's really good."
That actually at the start implies that the person asking didn't expect you to enjoy it, or that you yourself didn't expect to enjoy it.
Which might be true, in which case actually is perfect there. But if neither of you doubted your enjoyment, actually feels slightly odd.
A simpler and more natural response, "Yes, it's really good," or "Yes, I'm really enjoying it actually," said at the end.
When actually moves to the end of a sentence, it loses the corrective edge and just adds warmth and sincerity.
"I'm enjoying it actually," feels warm. "Actually, I'm enjoying it," feels like a mild surprise to both of you.
Same words, different position, different feeling. Position is everything with this word.
The third mistake, using actually without enough tone awareness.
We've talked about tone already, but it's worth saying once more clearly.
Actually is one of those words that is extremely sensitive to vocal tone.
Said with a warm, rising voice, it feels friendly and genuine.
Said with a flat or descending voice, it can feel challenging or condescending.
So practice saying actually out loud in different tones. Feel the difference.
Warm and light. "Actually, I really enjoyed that."
Flat and sharp. Actually, that is not correct.
Feel the difference? The word is the same. The feeling is completely different.
So when you use actually, consciously warm your voice. Lift it slightly. Let it carry a friendly energy.
But in almost any use of actually will land well because the tone will do the softening work for you.
Now, let us bring everything into real daily life situations together.
Imagine a Monday at work. You arrive, and a colleague asks how your weekend was.
You had been dreading the weekend because you had a lot of chores and errands to do, but it turned out to be lovely.
You say, "It was actually really nice. I thought it was going to be a stressful one, but I ended up relaxing more than I expected."
Actually, expressing pleasant surprise warm, natural, your colleague feels drawn into your story.
Later that morning, your team is discussing a project timeline. A colleague states a deadline that you're fairly sure is incorrect.
You want to correct it without putting them on the spot in front of everyone.
You say, "Just checking we're all on the same page. I actually had a slightly different date in my notes. Could we confirm which one is right?"
Gentle, collaborative. The correction happened, your colleague doesn't feel embarrassed, the team gets the right information, everyone wins.
At lunch, a friend from another team joins you. She's heard that your department is very stressful to work in.
She carefully asks if you're finding it difficult, and you genuinely love your team.
You say, "Honestly, I actually love it there. It's busy, yes, but the people are wonderful, and I feel really supported."
That actually underlines the genuine truth of your feeling. It signals that this is not a polite answer. This is how you really feel.
Your friend relaxes. She feels like she got an honest answer, and the conversation deepens.
End of the day, your manager thanks you for your work on a presentation and says it went really well.
You feel genuinely proud, and you want to express that without sounding fake.
You say, "Thank you so much. I actually really enjoyed putting it together. It pushed me in a good way."
That actually makes your enjoyment feel real, not just a polite response to a compliment, but a genuine reflection on the experience.
One full workday, 4 uses of actually. All warm, all natural, all landing exactly as intended.
Now let's try a friendship situation.
You and a close friend are catching up over dinner. You haven't seen each other in a while.
She recommends a book she's been reading. You already read it last year and you loved it.
You say, "Oh, I've actually already read that one, and I actually think it's one of the best books I've read in years."
2 uses of actually. The first signals a gentle surprise connection. You both know this book. The second emphasizes genuine love for it.
Both feel warm, both feel natural, and now you have a rich conversation point to share.
Later, she tells a story about something that happened to a mutual friend. She gets a small detail wrong.
You know the real version, but you don't want to make her feel embarrassed or like she's gossiping incorrectly.
You say softly, "I think it might actually have happened a little differently, but honestly, I'm not completely sure either."
That "I think it might actually have happened a little differently" is so gentle. It invites doubt into both of you without putting her on the spot.
The correction is there, but it's wrapped in such warmth and humility that it feels like thinking together rather than being corrected.
And your friendship stays completely easy and comfortable because you used actually with care.
After dinner, she asks if you want to try the new dessert place nearby. You've had a huge meal and you're full.
But actually, you're slightly tempted and you decide to go.
You laugh and say, "I'm actually going to regret this tomorrow, but yes, let's do it."
That actually is playful and self-aware. It says, "I know this is not the sensible choice, but I'm choosing joy anyway."
And your friend laughs with you because that actually made the moment human and funny and real.
That's actually at its very best. Honest, warm, playful, and completely natural.
Let's try one more, an emotional conversation.
Someone close to you is going through something difficult. They feel like they're burdening the people around them.
They say, "I'm sorry for talking about this so much. You must be tired of hearing it."
And you genuinely are not tired. You love this person and you want to be there for them.
You say, "I actually want to hear it. Please don't apologize. This is exactly where I want to be right now."
That actually makes your reassurance feel real, not just polite, not just automatic.
It contrasts with what they assumed, that you're tired, and replaces it with the truth, that you want to be here.
And that contrast, that's exactly what actually was made for.
Not to correct facts on a timeline, but to correct false assumptions someone holds about themselves.
To say, "Wait, what you believe is not the truth. Here's the real version."
And in that moment, actually is one of the most loving words in the English language.
Because it's saying your assumption about how you are received is wrong, and the truth is so much kinder. Say it with us one final time. Everyone listening, repeat this out loud.
I actually want to be here. I actually enjoy this. I'm actually getting better every day.
Say them again with warmth and full belief. I actually want to be here. I actually enjoy this. I'm actually getting better every day.
All 3 use actually to emphasize a genuine truth. All 3 feel warm and real and connecting.
And that last one, I'm actually getting better every day, that one is true for every single person listening right now.
Let's bring everything together now.
Actually is not a dangerous word. It's a nuanced word, and nuance is a sign of sophistication in any language.
When actually introduces pleasant surprise, it feels warm and genuine. This is actually really good. I actually loved it.
When actually emphasizes a genuine feeling, it adds sincerity and real emotion. I actually want to hear it. I actually can't thank you enough.
When actually introduces a direct correction at the start of a sentence, it can feel sharp or challenging, depending on tone and context.
And the solution is to soften what comes before it. I think it might actually be different, instead of actually, that is wrong.
When actually appears too often, it loses meaning and starts to sound unusual. Use it with intention, not as a habit.
And tone is everything. A warm, light voice makes actually feel friendly. A flat or tense voice makes the same actually feel like a challenge.
So warm your voice. Place actually thoughtfully, and this beautiful, nuanced word will always work for you.
You are not just learning English words, you're learning how words carry emotion, how they land on people, how they build or break connection.
And that is an advanced and genuinely impressive level of language understanding.
You should feel proud of where you are. This kind of learning is not easy, and you are doing it.
Every episode, every sentence, every conversation, you are building something real, something permanent, something that belongs to you.
Keep going. Keep listening. Keep using these words in real life, even imperfectly, especially imperfectly.
Because imperfect use is how perfect use eventually arrives. If today's episode helped you understand actually in a completely new way, please give it a like right now.
And if you are not yet subscribed, please join our family today. A fresh new episode is here for you every single day.
Thank you so much for being here with us. Every single listen truly means the world to us.
This has been English with Liam and Olivia. Simple English, real conversations, daily practice.
Take care of yourselves. Keep speaking, keep growing. We'll see you in the very next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.